Come on, Annie. Let's go to the movies.
This is the Cinereelists, episode 575. My name is Kyle.
My name is James.
And my name is Zach.
And we're here to talk about movies, movie lists, and movie obsession for the next hour or so. How you guys doing?
Great, Kyle.
Awesome. So glad to hear that, Zach.
Yeah.
I think we need to change the intro.
I think the intro is just fine as it is.
No, I mean, this is like we're about to talk about John Wick movies. This is like, we need a higher energy intro.
Okay, let's try this again. Ready?
All right, I'm ready.
Okay. So, James, we're going to talk John Wick 4. Are you ready?
I have never been more ready in my entire life.
Okay. You're the...
Ooh, let's do it.
All right. I don't think James is picking up on my cues there, so I'm going to try this with Zach and see if Zach can maybe do a better job.
Hold on. I just want to point out the difference for when Kyle gives zero thought to what he's going to say after the intro and 3 seconds of thought to what he's going to say after the intro.
Yeah, today was a 0-second thought day.
Yeah, Zach, you just put the kids down to bed, so let's hear how loud you can be during the intro.
Oh, probably won't be.
All right, Zach, I'm going to try this with you now because I don't know what James is doing over there. Zach, we're about to talk John Wick 4. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you setting us up for something?
Yeah, here's the answer I want. Someone ask me, please.
All right, we're going to listen to John Wick 4. Are you ready?
Yeah, I think I'm ready.
Oh, is that a John Wick quote?
Yeah, he's...
Yeah, it's like the
Reeves.
one quote. For some reason, John Wick has no catchphrases except
I thought
that
it-
one.
Yeah.
I thought it was, why won't you die already or something like that.
That has been said in one movie. I don't think that
Oh,
makes a catchphrase.
okay.
Yeah, his catchphrase is, yeah, followed by an I statement.
Wait, hold on. So we were supposed to pick up on that by saying yeah and then something.
Yeah, that was exactly
Oh,
the game we
wow.
played, and you both failed the game.
Wow. Imagine failing that game.
I don't think we failed. I think maybe we beat you. Even though ours are totally different, I'm pretty sure Kyle or Zach and I beat you, Kyle, at this intro.
Also, James, that's the highest energy I've ever seen you.
I was
In,
honestly upset.
10 years of knowing you.
I found
loved
that energy upsetting and concerning.
I did not.
Okay.
I did not. I'm here for it.
Like I really want to talk to James off podcast.
I liked it.
Really
I've got the blood pumping now. I'm ready
Yes.
to talk John Wick. Yes. Let's go, baby. John Wick 24/7. Literally, I watched all 4 movies in the last 24 hours. It's been awesome. I literally have bullets like ricocheting in my brain right now. I can't stand it.
James, do you want us to match the energy? Because I'll do it. Man.
Oh, that would be amazing. But you do what you got to do, all right?
I just feel real bad for our listeners on headphones right now.
They'll get over it. They don't
Say that
expect
again?
they don't expect that from us, so they'll just have to get over it.
Okay.
Are you ready, Wickheads, to get into this?
That's better than being a John head, right? I mean, that's like
I think so. I think it's better.
who wants to be a toilet head? Not me.
I feel more of a Wickian.
A
Wiccans.
Wiccan?
There we go. It's right there. We could be Wiccans.
I don't know. I don't like it.
He doesn't know.
Zach has nothing to contribute with the name jokes, evidently.
No, he gave us
Wow.
Wickheads.
Oh, James. He's hyped. He's ready.
I
I hope
am.
you watch them in not in order.
You know
That
what
would be
else I
amazing.
did? Not to prolong getting into the John Wick talk, because we gotta talk John Wick.
Yeah,
I'm
James,
into
I hate to burn all this recording time right now.
it. For sure. Hey, this is gold right here. Yesterday, I did something that I haven't done in years.
Showered.
I went to the movie theater. I mean, I do that a lot, but what made this visit special is that I saw 3 movies in a row.
Hey.
I triple featured it.
Did you pay for all 3 of these movies?
Yes, of course I did.
Well, I don't know.
You're looking at a 45-year-old man. I'm not gonna theater hop. All right.
Some people have principles, James.
Some people don't. So were those 3 John Wick movies?
No.
Was it John Wick 4 3 times in a row?
It was one John Wick movie.
Okay.
What was amazing is the first movie I went to, almost nobody in the theater. John Wick movie, completely sold out. Third movie, nobody in the theater, basically. Like 3 other people in the theater with me. Can you
James,
guess the first movie and the third movie?
You
went Creed 3.
Nope.
A Man Called Otto.
No, that's not even in theaters. What are you talking
It's
about?
totally in
Shazam.
theaters.
What theater? Not down here.
Well, I don't know what's down. I don't check the local Orlando listings before I log on to this podcast with you guys.
I'm just saying, like, we don't keep our movies as uncurrent as you do, evidently, up there, because Man Called Otto is like, pre-Oscar hype.
Okay.
Was it Shazam?
It was not Shazam.
Okay.
Was it
65?
This is quite a game we got going on here.
James, can I just clarify
Yes.
that you yesterday saw 3 movies in the theater, including
Yes.
John Wick Chapter 4.
Yes.
And then today you watched John Wick Chapter 1, 2, and 3?
No, I watched John Wick 1 and 2 and then saw 3 movies in a movie theater yesterday. And then I watched John Wick 3 Parabellum today.
Okay. So
Okay.
yesterday was a 5-movie day.
Yes.
wow?
And then today just the 1. So do you feel like a little bit of withdrawal?
I mean, to clarify, when I say watched John Wick movies, I sat on the couch and worked while the movie was playing. And then I occasionally looked up during really loud scenes.
So you watch action scenes and types during talking scenes.
I wasn't typing. I was copy pasting things. I was doing like monotonous detail work.
Oh, I thought you were a typist.
No, I am far from a typist. I'm maybe the worst hunt and pecker you'll ever meet. That sounded weird. All right. The movies I saw, Zach guessed one of them, 65.
Nice.
The other one?
80 for Brady.
No. Cocaine Bear.
Oh, that would have been an obvious guess.
That's quite a mix of movies. 65,
Yes.
John Wick 4, and Cocaine Bear in
I'll
like
be
a
very curious.
7-hour period.
I'll be very curious if you slightly mix up the plots as we're discussing John Wick.
Maybe.
You can call that
possible.
the multiplex speedball.
I guess. Could be.
At least they're all action movies.
At least they are. I agree. Is Cocaine Bear an action movie? I don't know if that's true. Now that I agreed with it. All right, we got to stop messing around here. It's time to talk John Wick, Chapter 4. Before we do that, though, we got to remind the listeners that there's a video version of this podcast on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/Cinereelists, which is a URL that now works. You can find us there, or you can just search Cinereelists. Either way works. You could also support us on Patreon at patreon.com/Cinereelists. Support us there, get extra after show audio. Also, you could rank us or rate us on Apple Podcasts, the app. That's free. Just do it. 5 stars only. Also, you could send us a listener email to heyguys@cinereelist.com, REEL with an S on the end. Send a comment, a question, a list suggestion, a movie suggestion, any of those kinds of things. Let us know who won the intro wars this week. I'm guessing it's me or Zach.
I asked how you were doing. I think it's a very courteous thing. I'm checking in on you. I'm not feigning excitement and blowing out the eardrums of.
Who's feigning? I'm ready to go, baby. Let's do it.
Please stop shouting into the
Time to
microphone.
talk John Wick. Let's pull out the guns and kick some butt with John Wick right after this clip.
So, You want to kill him? You want to kill him? I want to kill him. What about you, Mr. Vic?
I'm going to kill you.
Oh, for better, of course, yeah. But it looks like we have ourselves a genuine conundrum. A quandary, if you will. A real-life dilemma. So, I thought we'd play a game. One hand. The winner decides who lives and who does not.
I think the other issue is that I had normal Dr. Pepper tonight.
Oh, are you caffeinated?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, I think I'm juiced. Like about an hour from now, I'm gonna sugar crash heavy, and you guys are gonna have to carry the rest of the podcast.
Are we doing spoilers? I meant to ask that earlier.
I think I think there's definitely spoilerish things to talk about, which is odd in a John Wick movie, but in this one, I think there's spoilers.
Okay, let's do spoilers.
Don't talk about being killed. Don't talk about the final.
What the heck, dude?
Those are spoilers.
Yeah, don't talk about those things.
We're not recording. Are we recording right now?
No,
Is this part of the
We're
show?
recording.
I thought,
guys, we were just doing the trailer. You just did the trailer. We haven't come back yet.
I thought this Dr. Pepper stuff was you just talking while the trailer's playing.
All right. Well, we're back, and now I have to bleep that. Thanks a lot.
No, James,
right.
you don't bleep anything.
We're going to talk John Wick Chapter 4. This is a movie that is a 2023 American neo-noir action thriller film directed by Chad Stahelski. It's the sequel to John Wick: Chapter 3 - Parabellum. This one is starring Keanu Reeves, of course, Donnie Yen, Bill Skarsgård, Lawrence Fishburne, Hiroyuki Sanada, Shamir Anderson, Lance Reddick, Rina Sawayama, Scott Adkins, and Ian McShane, amongst about 100 other stuntmen, I would say. And the official IMDb plot synopsis for John Wick: Chapter 4 is: John Wick uncovers a path to defeating the High Table. But before he can earn his freedom, Wick must face off against a new enemy with powerful alliances across the globe and forces that turn old friends into foes. What did you guys think of John Wick: Chapter 4?
I actually have a question before we get into this. So you said with about 100 other stuntmen.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we can look up the cast list and see who's credited with stunts.
Mm-hmm.
But how many stuntmen do you think they actually use? Because like he's only fighting 3 or 4 people at a time, and they're all usually wearing the exact same costume.
They often are masked too.
Right. So like I watch these movies, I wonder, like, is he just fighting the same 3 stuntmen?
I mean, it's definitely more than
again.
3, because there's a lot of like big burly guys in gray suits that aren't wearing masks in this one. But definitely when he's just like plowing through guys and it's really, really fast and they're all wearing masks anyway, they're recycling them.
Yeah, they're just using the, okay, now you're in this move right there. Yep.
Right.
I bet there were a ton of stuntmen.
Oh, I mean, for sure. But like on that one scene where he's fighting 50 guys in masks, there's probably 10 guys in costume.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, do you guys want to know how many stunt performers there were?
Please.
98.
Yeah, so not even 100.
Let's rewind that. Let me fix it. Hold on.
James, there's a lot we need to fix about this episode so far.
For sure. Okay. Well, you didn't say what you thought about it, Kyle. Give us some context. What do you like about John Wick? Were you excited about this movie? And what'd you think about it?
Sure. Yeah. So I think like many people, I didn't know much about John Wick, the franchise, before actually seeing it. Like this wasn't something that I was
It wasn't a franchise.
Okay, sorry, the first movie, let's say. Right? Like there wasn't a lot of buzz around that first movie.
Okay.
And then after seeing the first movie, after hearing good things and seeing it and seeing both the style that is used in directing wise and the action style incorporated by Keanu Reeves and the directors. And then for me being a martial artist, seeing how those, like a lot of the martial arts that I do were incorporated into this movie and this franchise. John Wick has become one of my favorite recent action franchises where each one I'm excited to see. I rewatched 3 the other day in anticipation of 4, and man, 3 is a good time. 3 also has some of its issues, and I was curious to see if those issues would carry over into 4. And I would say that I don't think they've learned a lot from 3.
So you think 1 and 2 don't have issues and 3 does?
No, so actually 3 is probably my second favorite one.
It's also my second favorite.
Right. Like 1 is by far my favorite. 2, I think, does a great job at building the world, but like action wise, I don't find 2 as memorable. It's definitely a more plot heavy, more world expanding. 3 has amazing action scenes. It also is kind of making the world even bigger in some ways that work for me, in some ways that don't work. And then 4, I think, is taking kind of the best of and worst of both, where it's giving me incredible action. Like the last hour of this movie, nearly perfect. The combination of the action, the humor, the plot that was being put forward, how the world was developed, I thought like that last hour was amazing. And if the entire movie was that last hour, this would have been a 5-star movie.
If it's not on the page, it's not on the stage.
Not sure how that's relevant.
It was great.
Okay. But at the same time, this movie is nearly 3 hours long. And there were definitely moments where I thought this could be cut. There were action scenes that
if it's not on the page, it's not on the stage.
You have some downers you could take or something.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah, I know. I'm just making sure your finger's on the button over there. Punchy.
Oh, it's on the button. Look, you were saying things need to be cut. That's how it's relevant.
Okay. So there's this one action scene in a Tokyo Continental, or not, Osaka, I believe, Osaka Continental, where it's essentially it looks like they're in a museum, right? There's all these like samurai outfits. There's lots of plexiglass to be broken, which they did in John Wick 3 also. And like, although that gave me nunchuck John Wick, which was amazing.
Sure.
My son is doing nunchucks in karate right now, so we've been watching like old Bruce Lee clips on YouTube. So I've been really invested in the whole nunchuck movie world. That was awesome. But then that whole fight sequence was just a lot of him flipping bad guys into plexiglass. And it just kind of went on for a long time. And at one point I was like, okay, like, cool. What else do you have for me? And then they got the nunchucks out. But
sure.
So I think a lot of the action scenes were great. They're featuring a lot of different stunt performers, like Donnie Yen is in this one. There's the Osaka manager and then his daughter. I thought they were awesome. They had sumo wrestler henchmen. They had henchmen with bow and arrow. So there's a lot to like about it, but it also, there's a lot of fat I think could be trimmed from these movies at this point. We can get into it, but I definitely want to hear what you have to say, Zach.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, it's made to be entertaining, right? Every part of it is like, how cool can we make this, right? So like with the music cues, with the lighting, with the dialogue, with the action, with the staging, how cool can this be? And it delivers. I mean, every little element is cool, like every scene is like great. It is too long. It definitely, there's a lot on the page. And so there ends up being a lot on the stage.
If it's not on the page, it's not on the stage.
And but yeah, I liked it. I didn't love it. Maybe because I felt like it was dragging a little bit. And it does a thing that no other movie has the guts to do. I can't think of another movie that does this, where it actively is dragging it out for you. Where it's like, okay, he's got to get there. Let's go. And like, no, we're going to add 3 things
Yes.
that have to happen before he gets there. And then, okay, he did the 3 things. Now he's got to get there. Well, 2 more things. And the one thing has a thing. It's intentionally adding and multiplying obstacles in front of him in very on your nose. And I can't think of another movie that does that quite the same. Which I was fine with, honestly, but you are looking at the clock and be like, oh, okay. All right. When's he getting there? What's happening here? There's the new kind of there's 2 bad guys in this movie, you know, like 2 foes, right? One's a friend and one's an enemy, and he has to fight them both. And the main bad guy, like the enemy bad guy, the Marquis, I like that character a lot. I thought he was very, very evil and like perfect for the role, kind of a thing. The other character, the friend, I don't know. He was fine. I didn't completely buy him. I wasn't completely sold on him. I always kept him a little bit at an arm's length. I don't know. There wasn't the full embrace. What about you, James? How'd you feel about John Wick?
Well, I had a question about is it the Donnie Yen character you're talking about? Correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Were you not sold on his motivation or his friendship with or respect for John Wick?
I understood the motivation.
You understood that. Okay.
I was not sold on the friendship.
Okay.
As soon as I get that when he's talking about the fact that he's friends with John Wick, that all makes total sense. But then as soon as he is in the same room as John Wick, the way he's talking is if he's like, you deserve this, John. You know what I mean? And it's like, you can be reluctantly doing this. Plus, I wasn't totally convinced that, well, I don't know how much to talk about him, but.
No, I think it's safe to talk about his physical condition.
Right. I wasn't 100% on board that he was doing what he was doing while blind.
I mean, yeah, it's so Donnie Yen's not a blind actor. So obviously the actor is a sighted person. So
I will agree with Zach that Donnie Yen and his action scenes didn't loop back around enough to him being blind. Like the whole doorbell chime thing was great because
that was awesome.
It was like, that's an ingenious way if you're blind to like
never seen again,
get an idea of, you know, what's happening around you. Or if they had somehow built something in where he's like tapping items around him or something like that to like hear where people are or something like that. I could, I totally would have been more on board with the scenes where he is like uncannily predicting where people are going to be.
Have a headband that like has an audible pulse that goes with the beat of the music, right? And he's like echolocating things. That'd be sweet.
Sure.
Just make him Batman. Literally.
Or just build in some, like, you know, like I forget, I'm sure Kyle probably knows the official term for this, but there's like a drunken style to martial arts. Like there's literally like a,
yeah, well, it's just drunk. I mean, like Drunken Master.
Right, like Drunken Master style.
Yeah.
If you could have him be like, since he's blind and since he knows he's not going to be as accurate, give a style to his fighting, or give a couple nods while he's fighting to the idea that like he knows he's going to mess up, he knows he's going to miss here and there, and he's taken that into account and keeps himself so loose that it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like he builds those misses into the next move, and not only does it make up for the fact that he can't actually see what's coming at him, but when he misses, it helps him calibrate for the next swing type of thing. But I wasn't getting any of that from his fighting. I was just getting that like this dude's Daredevil or something like that, without any explanation as to why he might be Daredevil. You know what I mean?
He felt like a superhero where his other senses were incredibly heightened. But this is not, I mean, this is not a superhero world. You can argue that they have superhero abilities to survive things, but
right. But they don't have superpowers according to the lore of the.
No. I mean, they're like Fast and Furious characters in this case. Those kind of superheroes.
Right. So I didn't love that about Donnie Yen's character, Kane, but I did love the fact that Donnie Yen was in this movie. I think that was great. Like as an action fan, seeing him kind of get to stand toe to toe with like one of the biggest action stars in Hollywood today, and like giving him that kind of respect. I love that. And can't imagine any other action star who not only would be really cool with that, but like, yeah, let's get Donnie Yen. He's not like a real big box office draw in the US. It's not like putting Donnie Yen on your poster is going to get a lot of more butts and seats. And yet Keanu Reeves is like, absolutely, it should be Donnie Yen. You know what I mean? Because he knows that like hardcore action people are going to love it. And this guy can pull it off. And why not? Type of thing.
Is he IP man?
Ip Man.
Yeah.
IP
Ip
Man.
Yeah.
I am
Man,
intellectual property man.
which is a series that has had like 5 or 6 movies and is great.
Yeah,
if
he's
you
in-
like these types of movies.
Right.
Yeah.
And he does like this. Ip Man does this Wing Chun style. I think it's called Wing Chun style of fighting,
Mhm.
where it's a lot of like parries and blocks, and it's not a ton of kicks. It's a lot of just handwork.
Mhm.
It's really cool to watch.
It's like controlling your opponent until you get the perfect moment to go in.
And like
then you
land
can-
one punch on them.
Right.
Yeah.
Basically. So yeah, I really loved the concept behind having Donnie Yen in there, for sure. But I did find the idea of that he's blind kind of distracting, because I don't think they pulled that concept off very well, personally. And I don't fully understand why it even had to be there, because they didn't really go into anything about it other than like giving his eyes to the table. I don't know if that's spoiler, but like why they don't even go into like why or what he did or
Right.
any of those types of things. I mean, they go into it a little bit, but we won't talk about that now. Anyway, so I wasn't it didn't ruin the movie for me, but I have the same complaint that Zach has. Overall though, I enjoyed this movie about as much as I enjoy most John Wick movies, which is to say that I enjoy them. I think part 3 is over long, but what's there is mostly super memorable.
Right. Yeah.
Like the horse scene, the motorcycle scene, the dog scene.
The dog scene is amazing.
The trying to think of what else is in that movie. The old-timey weapons scene. There's just
the knives they throw.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
just like multiple, like even at the end when the 2 guys from the raid show up and start cracking jokes about John Wick and getting to fight him. This is all in part 3. That's memorable to me. You know what I mean? Like they take a break to have those guys like be recognized as action stars, and then they get to go one-on-one with John Wick.
Mhm.
Again, in part 3. I felt like part 4 had not enough of that kind of stuff. Like there was some cool action stuff for sure. The stair scene is cool. A couple other scenes are cool, but I don't think it was quite as packed with memorable sequences as the first movie. The nunchuck scene was good. Before we keep going, because I have no clue whatsoever. Is that how people use nunchucks? Because it seemed kind of sloppy.
Yeah. So like, yes, a lot of nunchuck that you see is like the show nunchuck where people are like flipping them around and crossing sides.
Right.
And then really what it is a piece of wood on a chain connected to another piece of wood. So you can just whack someone in the head. Really, you kind of get that snap of that chain hitting someone in the face. So yes. If
so
you
he
watch,
was using it in the movie more like somebody would use it realistically.
if you watch a Bruce Lee movie, he's using it the same way, where he'll do the cool flips and then a guy will walk up and he'll just whack him in the face with it and then do some more, cool moves and then hit someone else in the face with it. So
But the cool moves are entirely unnecessary, evidently.
I think the cool moves are the acrobatics of it. Yes.
Okay.
So here's my take on it. That was my favorite scene of the movie, right? Him with the nunchucks.
The nunchucks, yeah.
And here's what here was my reading of it, right? He starts with it, and John Wick is he's a bruiser, right? Like he's just a brute force. You can't keep him down, and eventually he will shoot you in the head twice. Like that's just what he does.
Mm-hmm.
No matter, he'll take any amount of abuse and keep going.
His ultimate goal is to shoot you in the head
twice.
Yeah, and then move on. Like anything he does is to get you shot in the head.
Yeah. But so he picks up the nunchucks, right? Every other movie with nunchucks, the first thing they do once they get the nunchucks is do a ton of acrobatics with the nunchucks, right? Like the showy kind of Indiana Jones thing with the guy with the swords, right?
Yep.
Showing off, I can do this with nunchucks. Then they start fighting, right? And he doesn't do that at all. He just gets it and then just immediately starts whacking people with it as if it's a stick, basically, right? Like with no technique whatsoever. I'm not a nunchuck expert for sure. But my roommate in college was. And my understanding is that the point of nunchucks is that you just can always maintain momentum, right? The reason they do these tricks is because it maintains momentum of the thing. So you're not whacking and then pulling it back. It's like part of it's
always spinning.
It's always moving, right?
Yeah.
So you can get multiple hits in a very quick amount of time. Where like with a normal weapon, you get one hit, then you have to recoil, and one hit. You know what I mean? He's just whacking him with the thing, and then after he kind of like gets the first guy down. And he's sloppily throwing it on his neck and that kind of thing. Then he actually does like the acrobatics that you expect to see at first.
Yeah.
Showing that like, yeah, he actually absolutely knows what he's doing, but he doesn't have time for all that. He's just trying to whack people with the nunchucks. That was my reading of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did like how they added the acrobats at the end.
Yeah, I thought that was really
Afterwards,
sweet.
yeah. I mean, for me, my favorite scene and probably my new favorite scene in the whole series was just that overhead shot. That was in that last hour.
Sure.
Going from room to room.
That was
That's
interesting. It definitely made me think, why is there not a John Wick video game?
Yes. Well, and some people were comparing this to video games I'd not heard of, but like this sort of that overhead look as you're going, like an old arcade style.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could totally make a John Wick video game and mimic that style from that scene.
There's a character with a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I like that character just for like the comic relief and just it added a little personal touch to the movie. But I did not believe his character really at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Same here.
so he had this weird motivation where it seemed like he was only going to go after John Wick once the bounty got to a certain amount.
Wait, was his weird motivation money? Was that what you're saying? Is his weird motivation?
No, but I got.
Yeah, because they
It's
pretty well
strange.
defined
He, like-
his.
But
weird
there's a very
money.
specific amount of money. Like he was like 18 million,
More.
not enough. Like it has to be this number. So
Sure.
There's something else driving him why it has to be that number. I'm not sure what
Yeah.
it is. I'm
Yeah.
definitely intrigued by that character. It was kind of weird that he had a dog also, and we had Halle Berry with the dog's last one, and this dog operated the same as the Halle Berry dogs.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, well, I'm glad to see the dog. A dog is back in this case, but it didn't really feel like a fresh idea. I am intrigued by that character. I'm sure that character will be back in future installments, or I should say, I hope he'll be back in future installments.
I didn't get the sense though that he is like this amazing force to be reckoned with, right? And he's just holding back. I got the sense that he's just one of the random NPCs that like John Wick kills normally. He just doesn't engage with John Wick,
Mm-hmm.
Like he doesn't seem particularly talented compared to some of the people that John Wick has beaten.
He has a powerful shotgun. That's his
And
superpower.
poor aim.
There's another thing that this movie did a lot, which they've introduced in the previous movies, and that's the bulletproof suit coats.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And like they've done it before where John Wick will like hold his hand in front of his face or like hold his coat up briefly. But I felt like in this movie, every 5 seconds, someone was either holding their hand or their coat in front of their face just to like dodge bullets. And it just looks silly after a while.
Well, plus it just takes away a lot of the stakes of these like close combat where people are shooting each other from 5 feet away.
Right.
Like basically like, okay, he can't be shot. They can. So it feels a little cheating.
Yeah. It's like, all I gotta do is lift my suit coat up and you can't shoot me in the face. Yeah. I don't know. It's a movie. Obviously it's movie technology. That doesn't bother me, but just the over reliance on that as a way to get out of killing John Wick just seems boring to watch visually and lazy.
Now, Kyle, you're a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
I am.
From what you've seen of John Wick, let's say he doesn't have a weapon.
Okay.
Do you feel like you could take him?
Oh, not at all. No, not at all. Actually, now you bring that up, he did do two of my favorite jujitsu moves in this movie. I was very happy to see them on screen.
What are they?
Favorite to do or favorite to look at?
No, favorite to do. So
okay, so you can do these moves.
I can do these moves, yes.
All right.
Yep. So one was just a simple transition from side control to mount. Side control is where your partner is on the ground, their back's on the ground, and you're kind of chest to chest, more or less perpendicular to them. Right, you're facing down. And then he did this transition where he went north-south, so kind of like spun around above their head to the other side and then transitioned into the mount. And I thought that's a move I can pull off a lot, and it's cool to see him use that one. And then he also did it was kind of like a modified bow and arrow choke. And a choke is the bow and arrow choke you do from the back. So when you're in back mount, basically you're like on the floor and the person's sort of like, I don't know, it's hard to describe. They're like sitting in your lap, but you got your legs kind of wrapped around them. So you're sort of like on their back on the floor. And then the bow and arrow choke is you set up a choke across the neck and then loop one of their hands behind, with your own legs. So they're kind of being stretched out. And he was doing that move too. And I love a bow and arrow choke. So it's cool to see those two in the movie.
Nice. And he's never done that in the other movies that you remember?
He may. So the first John Wick, when he fights Adrian Palacki, the woman, you're right, from Friday Night Lights, that was a very jujitsu focused fight. So I'm sure there could have been some of that in there, but that is a much quicker fight. These were just more like specific moments in this movie that jumped out to me.
Yeah, I thought, not to go back to less jujitsu specific topics, but I thought the action scenes were interesting, but most of them were too long by maybe 30%. I think you could chop 30% off every action scene in general, at least the ones that were longer than 15 minutes, and you would have pretty much had the same movie. Like, how many times do you have to see John Wick kill 3 guys just using his fists and a gun? We've seen it. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. Plus, there were kind of some repeats of some visuals from 3 in part 4 that I found. Not exact repeats, but like, how many times is John Wick going to find himself in a room where like there's just like glass exhibits of things?
Yeah, right. 3 had that in that final fight. They were going through plexiglass all the time.
Right.
And
it's not that I don't like him going through plexiglass. That's cool. But if I've already seen it, then let's move on to something I haven't seen. I don't know. See, I maybe it's because I just watched the other ones, but I got a little bit of deja vu in certain parts. And I think if they had moved faster, I wouldn't have gotten that deja vu as often.
And there were whole bosses that could have been cut out completely, like the guy that played cards.
Oh, in Germany?
He could have completely not been in this movie, and we would have lost nothing.
Not only that, but there's this great shot of the magistrate or whatever his name was, and he's in his hideout, and there's all these big, huge guys in gray suits. And I was like, I can't wait till the scene where John's fighting his way into this house, and he has to fight all these big, huge gray dudes all at the same time.
There's like all these swords on the wall too, aren't there?
I don't remember.
Okay, yeah.
Spoiler alert. Doesn't happen in the movie. I'm like, what? Yeah. I was like, it was just like a perfect establishing shot. They could have just put the camera like on a tripod and wondered it and just had him move up and, you know what I mean? Fight guys and throw them off, whatever. They could have gone crazy with it, but they didn't.
Yeah. That whole German scene, or scene in Germany, I should say. One, I don't like the fact that every single person in this world is an amazing fighter. Sure. And like that guy with the gold teeth, I thought like, oh, maybe he's a smart thinker. He's a good tactician. Like he got this place of power for another reason. Like, oh no, he's also just an amazing fighter.
I don't know.
Well, he was on some sort of like drug.
Yeah. I got the idea that he wasn't an amazing fighter. He was just a big burly guy who was like out of his mind. So that's why he was hard to beat.
He was played by a amazing martial artist stuntman. So maybe he was trying to, even behind that fat suit, he couldn't hide his abilities.
Yeah.
Wait, he was on a drug of some sort? Did I miss that?
So he kept using the inhaler. I'm interpreting the inhaler as like some sort of like drug.
Oh, I just thought he had
Stimulant.
asthma because he was a large dude.
Possibly, but he
Okay.
would use it at key times.
Yeah, because his inhaler is his ability to breathe. Oxygen is his drug, is his life force.
Yeah, totally. No. The character in John Wick just used his inhaler for 4 times instead of like using some sort of like super gas.
That's a good point. These movies, and I'm not talking about just this one, but in general, in these movies, the public does not care that people are being murdered around them all the
Absolutely.
time.
Especially if they're at a rave.
Well, so in this one, like they're fighting at a rave. There's a couple people in the background who are kind of like just watching in horror, who like run, and everyone else is just dancing away, like they don't care at all. And then even in like John Wick 3, in Grand Central Station, as during rush hour, he's dispatching people in the lobby of Grand Central Station, and everyone's just walking right by.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're like, I think there'd be a little bit more. Like I know they're trying to show the separation of the real world from the assassin world in these movies, but as they started to blend these all together, I think some people in the real world will be like, hey, there's something going on at Sacré-Cœur. We should probably go check out up there.
Yeah, and it might be interesting if they would like integrate some of that into fights, right? Like have guys, maybe not John Wick, but like have guys fight and then they like try to play off the idea that like they just knocked somebody out and like walk away with them,
Right.
type of thing. Shove them in the closet off screen.
I haven't seen the police officer in this movie since the first John Wick.
He's in the second one, but
Okay.
I understand what you're saying.
But yeah, like never are there screaming sirens to this scene of mass killing
Right. For
in
sure.
this library or whatever.
I mean, rarely do the police even show up to interrupt a fight. I don't remember that even happening ever. So, but in the first and second movie, they kind of set up that at least one police officer knows what's going on here and stays out of it. Like the police officer that shows up at his house in the first one and the second one, he's like, okay, I know who you are. He drops hints.
And that right, he says, "Are you working again, Mr. Wick?"
Right.
Yeah. And that kind of worked when these movies, when the assassin world was smaller, when it seemed to be like the Continental but I think one of my criticisms is as they've blown this assassin world bigger and bigger and bigger, it just it seems to be like the assassin world is the world. And it's just like this alternate reality where everyone's an assassin and the public are the ones who are living in the shadows.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yeah.
I was not under the impression, but I could be wrong, that this is not like an assassination society. This is just a criminal society where some people are assassins. Or am I misunderstanding this? Or is the table specifically like a assassin organization or just crime in general?
I get the impression it's assassin just because like whenever there's the bounty out, there's that, that whole room where they're tracking the bounty and they send out all the text messages and just hundreds of people are getting text messages. So either they're all assassins or we're just seeing the small percentage that are assassins. And then that means everyone else is just in a criminal organization.
My understanding, which might be flawed, is that it is an assassin organization that obviously a lot of people in crime are utilizing. So like the big guy with the gold teeth is just a criminal who obviously hires assassins on the regular type of thing. But the idea of the high table and making rules and being in service of the high table, that type of stuff is all just related to the assassin order things.
Okay.
Can the unknowing public stay at these Continental hotels? Like if you walk into the Continental and ask for a room and pay in cash, they'll just give you a regular room? Or are these hotels only for people within the assassin world?
I think they're generally only for, but I don't know what they would do
because they are incredibly full hotels.
The Osaka Continental, it seemed like not everyone there knew what was going on because they talked about their Gold Club members.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Like I think it'd be more interesting if these Continentals were normal hotels on the outside that also harbored this whole underbelly. Instead of just being underbelly hotels.
Sure. I could see it.
According to the John Wiki, I made that name up. It's the John Wick Wiki, but they missed the opportunity to call it the John Wiki.
The John Wick Wiki?
No,
Like
it's just called
from
no,
Transformers?
No.
Okay.
That would have been great too. No, this is just a wiki about John Wick.
Okay.
It describes the High Council as the council of 12 crime bosses from some of the world's most powerful criminal organizations.
So it is a crime thing, not an assassin thing.
That would be how they describe it. However, they didn't have a sentence at the end or a period at the end of that sentence. So I don't know if we can completely trust them.
It might continue from there.
Yeah.
I thought this movie had two very bold references to other movies.
Okay.
Okay, so the first one was pretty. Oh, I was just okay. I was amazed.
I disagree.
No, like I was amazed that there was a Lawrence of Arabia like nod in this movie.
Okay.
Right, with the transition, the match being blown out to the sunset.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then they used.
I've never seen Lawrence of Arabia, but yes, I agree.
Okay, but Zach, you've seen Lawrence of Arabia. You know what I'm talking about.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so James, that scene where Lawrence Fishburne blew the match out, and then it did a smash cut to like the rising sun in the desert.
I don't remember that, but
okay,
I believe
it's right at the very beginning. It's the second most famous scene from Lawrence of Arabia.
What's the first most famous?
The wide shot you see like the camel coming down from the desert.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, I got you. Right. And then also like in that last hour with the radio DJ talking into the microphone, like, straight out of the Warriors. Straight out of that, which I thought was great. But I was like, man, we are just not even hiding our influences here whatsoever.
I've seen The Warriors, but don't remember that.
Zach, have you seen The Warriors?
I haven't, but I know it's a reference to that.
Do you know who is the actress that plays that mouth in The Warriors?
No.
The chief from Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
No way.
Isn't that crazy?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I know her. I know exactly who you're talking about.
Exactly what I'm talking about. Gumshoes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so great. The Warriors. Should I check out The Warriors?
I think you should check out The Warriors. Yeah.
It's a lot of leather vests.
Yeah.
It's a very 70s movie.
It's a cult movie for sure.
I mean, it's if anything, it's interesting for like the depiction of New York gangs at the time because they're interesting.
They have very color-coded uniforms. So it's very easy to tell who is in what gang at all times.
It's definitely Hollywood's version of what they think New York City gangs would be.
Okay.
If it's even based in New York. I don't know if it is based in New York. I don't remember if it says.
It's
Coney
in
Island.
New York, yeah.
It's New York, yeah. I gave it 3 stars.
James,
For the
I had you
Warriors.
watch that when we did a podcast together like 5 years ago.
Really? Did we talk about it?
We did, yeah.
I don't even remember talking about this movie.
We went to each other's watch lists and chose a couple movies from each other's watch lists and then watched them and discussed them.
All right.
Yeah, it was a fun episode.
Don't remember that at all, but
It was
I believe you. It was fun.
it was the early days of the Cinereelists.
Nice. Anything else spoiler free with John Wick : Chapter 4? I guess I could say that probably the most disappointing thing about this movie, and there wasn't too much that I was disappointed with. Like there's some things I think they could improve on, or maybe they should have taken a second, writing session on or something like that. But I wouldn't say I was disappointed with anything except for this one thing. I knocked the mic out of frame. And this one thing is the title. What is wrong with these people? John Wick 1, or just John Wick, then John Wick : Chapter 2, then John Wick : Chapter 3 - Parabellum, and then you go to John Wick : Chapter 4 with no dash and no nothing else afterwards. I don't get it.
Why? Hold on. why would it need a dash and another thing afterwards?
Why did number 3 need a dash and something
Right.
afterwards?
It's because they introduced it in number 3.
3 is the one that you have a problem with. 4 is doing exactly what 2 did.
No. I had a problem with 3 when it came out and it said dash
Okay.
Parabellum. I remember that conversation. But if you're going to do it, you better continue the pattern. Like
No,
if you're going
this
to add
is-
to the
they're
pattern, then
fixing it.
continue the pattern. Don't
They're
go
not
back to
gonna
the
add-
other one.
No, they're fixing it.
No. If you're
They
going to
fixed
fix it, then retitle number 3.
You want them to George Lucas it and just be like, no.
They could do
It's
that.
always called Chapter 3.
They could do that, or they could add the dash and some other name to this one.
All right,
and
so
say, look, this is how it is. From
That
now
wouldn't
on.
have fixed it. No, that would be bad.
That would have made it a little better.
James,
No.
if you could have dashed
This made it
this
worse
one,
again. What?
No.
what would you call it? Like, because they say Parabellum.
What would I call
in
it?
Chapter
Something
3.
very spoilery.
Okay.
No, this would be like, if it's what you wanted, it would be like John Wick, Chapter 4, dash, excommunicado, or something like that.
Hyphen.
Which
Zach,
Which
you
is-
should be on the
no.
writing team.
which is worse.
How is that worse?
Parabellum was a mistake.
It
And the way
was.
you handle a mistake is to just move on and not look back.
Well, I haven't heard them announce that they're dropping the Parabellum from part 3. So until they do that, this is an even bigger mistake. Going
According
back
to the John Wiki.
without changing it.
the John Wick Wiki.
According to Steve Lipnicki.
Mhm.
According to Jonathan Lipinski.
Who writes for the John Wick?
According to Tara Lipinski. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not okay with it.
I'm okay with it. In fact, I would like this to be called John Wick 4.
No
Yeah.
chapter. You want him to change it again?
I've never heard you complain about Fast and Furious, James.
Because Fast and Furious from day 1
No. From
changed
day 2.
the
Day
formula.
two.
Day 2
They
changed
could
the
not have
formula.
done it from day 1.
I'm
Actually,
saying
they
you're
did
right.
it from day 3.
Day 2.
They did it from day 3 because you can't. Your formula wasn't established yet to get to that third one. So
What was
Sure.
the second movie called?
Too
was
fast,
Too
furious
Fast, Too
with
Furious.
the number 2.
Okay, so it wasn't until the third movie that they established anything.
Right.
Wait, they didn't
That's what-
establish anything, period. By the 4th, they just recycled the first title.
Yeah. No. The,
Or was
the
that
first
the
one
5th?
is the
One
Fast.
of them
and-
recycles it.
the first one is the Fast and the Furious. The fourth
Right.
one is just Fast and Furious.
I'm saying
They got rid of the thes.
they've never
that's-
created a pattern. Whereas with John Wick, it was John Wick, then John Wick : Chapter 2, then John Wick : Chapter 3 dash Parabellum. So you either put a dash and something else, or you extend it. You don't go backwards to what you were
So
doing
James,
with 2.
James,
You think the appropriate thing to do would be John Wick : Chapter 4 dash subtitle then something else.
At least you'll have added something every title, right? It's called a progression, not a regression. They're
James,
regressing in this.
have you
form.
considered that the pattern could be A, B, C, B, C, B, C? So the next one's gonna be Chapter 5 : something, and then it'll be Chapter 6, and then Chapter 7 : something.
Yeah,
Well, they've
what
only
if this is a
announced 5
chiastic
movies,
structure,
so-
James?
Right. Yeah. Like, and then the last one will
It's
just
just
be
John Wick.
John Wick. Or
If
just
that is
Wick.
true, and when you see the titles bulleted, it makes a nice little dash.
Right. Oh.
I will eat my words.
Okay.
What
Why
else
don't
will
eat
you
your
eat?
hats, please?
I will eat my hat.
Okay.
If they do exactly what you guys are saying, would you call it a scholastic form? or
Chiastic
chiastic
structure.
form?
Chiastic. Come on, James. Learn your structures and forms.
No, I have not thought about anything that I learned in English. And I don't even remember learning that in English. Yeah, I've never heard that term before, but I'm happy to know it. The point is, if they actually do that with all these movies, then I was wrong, and this is the best franchise that ever existed. If they've thought that far ahead.
I think it's in the realm of possibility, just judging from like Rocky movies, right?
Right.
They go Rocky blah 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 and then hit you with Rocky Balboa. And then the Rambo movies.
No. Rocky Balboa changed when they actually changed the franchise a little.
No, I get it. I'm just saying it's a thing to like have the last movie be just the name again.
Like Jason Bourne.
Yes.
So you
Yeah.
think the last John Wick movie is just going to be called John Wick.
I think it'll just be called Wick.
Well, that would be ridiculous. They can't.
I think it will.
They can't.
I think it will.
No, it would. The series would have had to have started with a one-word title.
That's not true.
No.
I mean, Rocky starts with Rocky and ends with, so far, Creed 3. That makes no sense.
No. Because that franchise changed in the middle. Like between Rocky 5 and Rocky Balboa, there's like a great distance of time. Mm-hmm. Then after Rocky Balboa, they completely changed the name because they changed the main character. In these John Wick movies, these are all like a part of the original run.
Okay.
And that's why they need to have a consistency for franchise purity.
I love how you just wanted to continue adding elements.
I'm a like, John Wick purist. I don't mind if you add elements. Just be
emoji.
Consistent.
Right. Yeah. He wants fractions in there.
If you want to put an
John
emoji
Wick,
on the end of the latest
chapter 4,
I'm fine with that.
Excommunicado, smiley face emoji.
No. John Wick chapter 5 : emoji. That's all it's going to be. ... Ellipses.
It begins.
Yeah.
I'm
just
saying,
before it ends.
The Matrix has great franchise purity.
No.
Yes.
No, it doesn't.
It does. What do you mean? No, it doesn't.
It starts as The Matrix and immediately drops the. It should keep the, according to what you're saying.
The Matrix Reloaded.
Look, when you release a movie,
is it The Matrix Resurrections? Or is it Matrix Resurrections?
But you said they immediately dropped the. I don't think they dropped the until the fourth one.
Didn't they shoot them at the same time?
They dropped the everything but the first one.
But no, they did not. Maybe 2 and 3 they shot at the same time. But 4 is the one we saw like 2 years ago.
I'm saying like if you release a movie and it's a surprise hit, right? And now it's time to do a sequel. And you need to add something onto the end of it, or add a 2, or whatever you need to do. Drop the. That's fair game. I get it. You can't name the second movie exactly what you named the first, obviously. But by the time you get to the third, it's time to make a crucial decision, and that's: are we going to keep our franchise pure and continue the naming convention, or are we going to go willy-nilly, all silly, and change it up for no specific reason? Fast and Furious did that from movie 2. They made a choice to name it Too Fast, Too Furious, knowing they could not make it 3 Fast, 3 Furious because that would be silly. So they were like, we're just going to change it every time.
But actually,
and that
4
worked
Fast,
for them.
4 Furious would have worked perfectly.
No, it wouldn't have. Who?
Yeah.
4
Why
Fast?
are you doing this? I'm doing it for Fast. I'm doing it for Furious.
No.
That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make the sense you think it does. No. Fast 5 is the second best title of that franchise.
No. The Fates of the Furious being the 8th installment.
No, that is the dumbest. No, that is literally the worst.
That is
Fast
the
5
best one.
Is a slang term for stealing something, and that's why it's the best title in that franchise.
No, because it's too short. Fast and Furious, the 4th movie, that's the best iteration.
No.
Fast and Furious.
Fate of the Furious, the best one.
They don't even have an 8. It's the word fate.
Yeah, they use the word fate.
It's so dumb.
I agree. It should be F8 of the Furious. I give you that.
100%.
They didn't
100% give you that one.
All right. Anything else on John Wick : Chapter 4?
I got lots more, but we got to save it for later.
All right. Surprisingly, like normally I don't think there's too many spoilers for these kinds of movies, but in this one there is. And that's all we'll say until we get into spoiler chat, which will be at the end of this episode if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast on a podcast app. But if you're watching the YouTube video, you can just click the spoiler chat link in the description right now. All right, let's talk Keanu Reeves movies. Enough with all this John Wick chit chat. Let's get to the man himself. It's the top 10 Keanu Reeves movies.
Let's rank some movies. Let's.
We all kind of have a little bit of like different criteria slightly here and there for our lists. So I think as we run them down, we'll specify exactly how we rank these. Does anybody want to go first, or you guys want me to?
I can go first.
All right, Kyle's going to go first.
Cool. Before I go first, I need to show you guys something. I should have showed these two when we talked John Wick. So I'm going to bring John Wick back into this conversation one more time. Apologize.
Okay.
I don't expect him to come up in this list, so I don't know why you're doing
he won't come up whatsoever. We were talking about who was the most excited for this episode, but I don't think
we
either
did.
of
We
you,
talked about that.
Yes, at the very beginning when you were all amped up on Dr. Pepper.
I think I said, why are you excited? Not who's the most excited.
Well, you were trying to prove
This is
to
not
me.
a competition. It's only an exhibition. Please, no wagering.
You were trying to show your excitement, but did any of you wear a John Wick t-shirt to the podcast?
Wait. Trying to show my excitement? I think I showed my excitement. I wasn't trying. That was legitimate.
It seemed like a lot of
excitement.
effort behind that cheer.
That was legitimate excitement. All right.
Okay.
He really undercut your reveal, Kyle.
I was not trying.
How did I
Wait.
undercut my...
What happened? Did I
Yo,
miss something?
James totally missed your reveal.
What's the reveal?
He didn't even listen to you.
I didn't.
James, you should go back and watch the YouTube version to find out.
No. What happened?
Zach, would you like to explain what happened to James, please? I'm not talking to him anymore.
Well, when Kyle talks, James is just thinking about the next thing he's going to say.
Right.
And he missed that Kyle is wearing a John Wick t-shirt.
What does it say? I can't see it.
Well, it has the I can't read it backwards. It has the fortune favors the bold in Latin.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know, his back tattoo, fortune favors the bold, fortuitous. I can't think what it is, and then the praying hands with the rosemary.
John Wick has a back tattoo?
Did you not watch these movies, James? Jesus.
I love it, angering Kyle. It's so much fun. Cool. I like it. I like
Thank you.
kind of like minimal designy shirts that like from a distance you wouldn't know what it is, but then if you know what it is when you see it, then you really know what it is.
Yeah, like
Those kinds of
on the
shirts.
back tag it says John Wick, but there's nothing on it that says like John Wick or Baba Yaga or anything like that. So
Right. It's not like
subtle in that sense.
it's not like a photo of John Wick or something like that.
No.
Yeah.
So it is his back tattoo on the front of my t-shirt.
Can I make one more John Wick comment?
No.
Yes, please. We've only talked about
After-
it for an hour and 40 minutes now.
After 4 movies, right, where they're
Uh-huh.
like, okay, we're not beating him yet. We've sent a lot of text to all the assassins in the world. Let's bring out the big guns. Let's bring out the best guys. There can't be any other people that are like better fighters than we've seen. They've just been like holding them as their ace in their pocket, right?
I don't know. Mr. Nobody was waiting for the right amount of money. So there might be some guys who are like, hey, if he's still alive and the bounty's 75, then I'll come in.
But like, wouldn't that be silly if they're like, okay, well now I can't believe they called this guy. He's really good. You know, it's like
Right.
they would have called him by now. There's no one else.
Yeah. But I'm sure there will be someone else in chapter 5.
There's
Yeah.
always someone else.
Yeah.
In the John Wick universe.
Is it? I think it'll be like, wasn't the original Jurassic Park 3 supposed to be like human dinosaur hybrids?
Yes.
Like that was the plot
Yeah.
of the original Jurassic Park 3.
Not
He's
to go
gonna-
backwards, but I really want them to bring Common back in part 5.
He's from 2. He survived 2?
Yeah, he's left by John.
Are you sure that you watched that movie?
I watched it.
Okay.
In the subway car,
You weren't
he
tippity
leaves him
tapping
alive
the-
and says,
okay.
"This is a professional courtesy," and leaves him alive.
Mm.
And
I
I
like
think
Common in
I think
that.
maybe he tells him like how many stops to the hospital or something like that. He makes some comment about how far away the hospital is and that he was leaving him alive out of common courtesy.
Well, James, I'm just seeing here on Google that there is a Easter egg at the end of this movie, and if you see the John Wick and then the back
Mhm.
behind them, there's on it also.
I don't believe that. I'll have to see it for my own eyes on 4K Blu-ray.
They all got
They're all just yeah, and then there's just like Henchman 1, Henchman 47, Henchman
Yep.
82.
We are outside of spoilers, by the way, so maybe don't mention things at the end of the movie.
Oh, if you
Now I have
want to
flag
want to
that.
bleep some of that stuff, please. I forgot that.
All right, let's talk top 10 Keanu Reeves movies. Go, Kyle.
All
Save
right.
us.
Okay. So how I'm doing
and we
this,
can do these quickly, right?
yes,
don't have
we
to
can do these
dwell.
quickly.
Please.
So just really quickly, I'm not just ranking just Tom Wick. Sorry, I heard myself say the word ranking, and I then heard my
Mhm.
let's rank movies. And I'm like, oh my god, it's exactly the same. I'm not just ranking Keanu Reeves movies. I'm ranking
Elijah 4.
can't even say, yeah. I'm ranking his movies, but also like his performance in the movies, and I'm taking franchises as one. So this is not gonna be a list of just John Wick and Matrix movies. There will be one spot maybe for John Wick and one spot maybe for Matrix, etc. All right. My number 10 is a 1993 movie called Little Buddha. This is a movie about I guess the Dalai Lama has passed away, and the Tibetan monks are looking for the next Dalai Lama. And one of their possibilities is a boy in San Francisco, a white boy in San Francisco. So he goes to Tibet to, see if he actually is the next Dalai Lama via reincarnation. And then Keanu Reeves plays Siddhartha in this movie. And I believe he spends a lot of time praying under or meditating under a tree. So I don't remember a lot about it, hence number 10.
Nice. My list is John Wick. No, it's Keanu Reeves.
Can you twiddle that,
I'm ranking
please?
Keanu Reeves
Elijah 4
movies that I like in increasing order, but I do think he has to play a prominent enough role in the movie in order for me to include on the list. So I'm not going to have two movies, Keanu and The Neon Demon, which are movies both that I like a lot, but I don't think he plays a prominent enough role to make the list. So they won't be on this list. So my number 10 is Parenthood from 1989. I have it on the list because I like this movie and I know it'll appear on one of your lists higher up. So I wanted to include it on my list. And I wanted to point out the story for Parenthood was written by a guy named Babalu.
Okay.
Just need that.
You just wanted to throw that out there.
Just people need to know that Babalu Mendel came up with a story for Parenthood.
Did he write anything else that's a masterpiece like Parenthood?
A League of Their Own.
Oh, that's a good one.
He produced it. Yeah.
Those are produced, not written.
Well, I don't know which role. It said written, writer, and producer of famous movies such as, and then one of them was A League of Their Own.
Fair enough. My number 10 is from 1992. It's Bram Stoker's Dracula. I like this movie. It's good. Keanu Reeves, definitely in it. I think he's maybe the only star in this movie.
Did you guys see the trailer of
Gary
Nick Cage as
Oldman?
Dracula?
I was joking. There's lots of bigger people in
You're talking about the Renfeld trailer?
Yeah.
That looks awful.
Yeah, it looks so bad.
Like in the CG. Was yours a Red Band trailer?
I don't know.
Was there a lot of blood in it?
Yes.
Then that was a Red Band trailer. That blood looked terrible. It looked like Blade blood from 1990, whatever movie that came out.
People love Blade.
I know,
Yeah.
and it's clear they're clearly going for realism in this movie, so I don't know why the blood didn't look better.
I mean, just if it looks like bad Jello, then you can at least try a little bit better.
I mean, come on. It's a Renfield trailer.
Let's focus.
It's a comedy. All right. Yeah, I like this movie, and I think it's worth seeing for people who like movies from the 90s. That's for sure. There's lots of 90s dripping from this movie. And certainly if you like, what's the name of the girl in Bram Stoker's Dracula? Or
Winona Ryder?
Kirsten Dunst?
No, that's
Is
in
Yeah.
Interview with a Vampire.
Winona Ryder,
right?
Yeah.
If you like her, if you just like movie weirdness, this is maybe the weirdest version of Dracula in a genre of films that has a lot of weirdness. At least the weirdest I've ever seen. My number 10.
My number 9 is The Devil's Advocate from 1997. This is a movie with Keanu Reeves. Can't think of his name. Al Pacino. And Charlize Theron. Keanu Reeves is a small town lawyer who makes a pact with the devil, literal devil, paid by Al Pacino, to become a incredible lawyer. And this movie's wild. You have Al Pacino at full bombast, whoa level. Charlize Theron's in this movie, which is great. I don't know if this movie's any good. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember enjoying it back when I saw it many years ago.
I hate that movie.
I am not shocked by that whatsoever. Is it the orgy
So
wall?
much.
Is that what you hate the most?
There's so much to hate in that movie.
Yeah.
It is a terrible movie, and I recommend no one see it. My number 9 is Point Break, which I love it for its 80s cheese. It is just such a cheesy 80s movie, and it's great. And there's a whole like skydiving sequence. It's awesome.
You know that came out in 1991.
Great. 91 was definitely part of the 80s.
Yeah, they filmed it in the 80s, probably.
Yeah. It bled over. I'll give you that.
Sure.
Yep.
My number 9 is the 2006 film A Scanner Darkly, which is based on a Philip K. Dick novel, and it's directed by Richard Linklater, doing his rotoscoping, one of his rotoscoping films. It stars Keanu Reeves, also Robert Downey Jr.'s in it. It's one of his comeback movies, pre-Iron Man comeback movies. Woody Harrelson, Winona Ryder again, amongst others. And it's kind of like a paranoid sci-fi thriller, but for a movie that was rotoscoped, it really didn't have to be. Like, there's not much to it from a sci-fi perspective that had to be animated. You'd think like you'd want to make it animated because you can't afford the budget for this thing, or you think there's something stylistic that like maybe you would want to take advantage of with the rotoscoping. But nope, it's pretty much just a bunch of people sitting around talking for the most part, but rotoscoped. And I still like it. My number 9.
My number 8 is Always Be My Maybe from 2018. This is I think a Netflix rom-com with Ali Wong and Randall Park. And at one point, Ali Wong's character dates Keanu Reeves, and he's playing a heightened version of himself, kind of poking fun at his own celebrity and persona. And then Randall Park's character later writes a song called Best Believe I Punched Keanu Reeves in this movie.
Really?
Quite the title.
So it's like a meta movie where like he's playing Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves is playing Keanu Reeves.
All right.
Correct.
Right.
So who's better to play the man himself than himself?
My number 8 is The Lake House from 2006. This is a romantic drama, sci-fi, with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock. They are lovers across time. They can only communicate through a mailbox where they can mail letters to each other. And I like this one. I enjoyed this one.
I couldn't remember if I had seen it, and so I just looked it up on Letterboxd, and I gave Lake House 2 stars, which is not very good, I would say. But a movie I like that stars Keanu Reeves is my number 8, the poorly named John Wick: Chapter 3 - Parabellum.
Definitely poorly named.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I've seen 21 Keanu Reeves films.
Oh.
I have seen 36 Keanu Reeves films.
I have seen 23.
But you're also like the devil's advocate, so.
Well, again, I'm also like taking Matrix and John Wick and other movies and crush them into one. So I had to fill out. I put Little Buddha on, a movie I forgot I had seen until I looked at Letterboxd. So, we're stretching a little bit here.
I can't remember anything.
Can't tell if this is truth or dream. My number 7 is Point Break. This is a movie I finally caught up with a couple years ago, and it's super fun. It's cheesy. You're right. It's not an 80s movie, but it feels like an 80s movie. Keanu Reeves is still trying to figure out how to do line reading in this movie. Patrick Swayze's awesome. It's a fun action crime caper that gave us Fast and Furious.
Yes. My number 7 is John Wick: Chapter 4.
Oh, I thought there was more to that, but I guess not.
No.
No, I mean the title. There should be more to that. My number 7 is from 1989. It's my 4th favorite movie of all time, but my number 7 on this list, it's Parenthood, which is a movie I unapologetically love and also happens to have Keanu Reeves in it. He's not a real big part of the movie, which is why it's lower on this list compared to my top 100 movies of all time. Because I took that into account. I guess I haven't said that. My list consists of movies that Keanu Reeves is in, and if he's in it a lot, it got higher weight as far as like where it got placed on list. I think Keanu Reeves being in this movie is super interesting, though, because he's basically personality-less, which I think is generally people's perception of Keanu Reeves in general. Like a lot of his most well-known characters are generally just stoic guys who don't talk much. And in this movie, he's the boyfriend of one of the other characters, and he doesn't talk much, but he has a big impact on one of the other characters played by a young teenage Joaquin Phoenix. And I think that's an interesting element of the movie that's not really a big part of the movie. You've got like these two guys very early in their careers before they've blown up and become their own, movie stars inside this movie starring Steve Martin and what's the guy from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids?
Rick Moranis.
Rick Moranis and Mary Steenburgen and Diane Weiss and just like tons of great people from the 80s. Parenthood, if you haven't seen it, you're wrong. Get to it.
Haven't seen it.
What? Are you serious?
I'm very serious.
You haven't seen my number 4 favorite movie of all time, Kyle? How dare you?
Have you seen my number 4 movie favorite of all time?
No. Well, I don't
Jurassic
know.
Park.
Yes, I've seen it.
Heard of it.
All right. Well, my number 6 is a well-known Keanu Reeves joint called Toy Story 4. In Toy Story 4, Keanu Reeves plays Duke Kaboom, which is a Evel Knievel-like stunt toy. And I think we'd also mention that Duke Kaboom is very Canadian, as is Keanu Reeves.
I think he's American now.
According to Letterboxd, he is a Canadian actor.
Well, as in he was born in Canada, but he's a U.S. citizen, I believe.
Well, it says, I don't know. Keanu Charles Reeves is a Canadian actor.
Keanu Reeves only holds a Canadian citizenship.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry,
Cool.
James. Not
He
all
is
your-
100%. I stand corrected.
He's 100% Canadian. Yep.
Okay, my number 6 is it's got to be Speed.
My number
Because
6 is Speed.
Speed.
My
yeah.
number 5 is Speed.
Nice.
Speed is that's almost a bingo.
Yeah.
Speed is just a super fun action movie that like just very easy and light, and they don't make those anymore. And it's just one simple premise. We follow it through. It's perfect 90s action movie.
Yeah, it's only 116 minutes. it's got everything going for it. It's short, concise title. They never made a sequel.
Yes,
Everything you want from action movies.
Speed is one of my first rated R movies I got to rent on my own, and will always hold that special place in my heart.
Nice. Wait, you got to rent it on your own because they didn't know it was a rated R movie, or you were
No,
old
okay,
enough?
I should say as in like I got my parents allowed me to rent a rated R movie,
Oh, okay.
and it was Speed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. There's like, other than foul language and a little bit of violence, there's not much to it.
It's a pretty soft rated R movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Not that they were checking like commonsensemedia.com back in 1994, whatever year I saw it. So
Sure. Had they already seen it, or did they just assume it would be okay?
I probably just whined and bothered them enough that they just gave in and said fine.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
They probably looked at the cover and said, "This will be okay."
I have a great memory of watching Speed again in Switzerland with my parents on in French dubbed. And all I remember is Il est en bombe dans l'autobus.
Nice.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Back to you, Zach. Did a full loop.
Yep, back to your number 5.
That was a full route.
Yeah.
My number 5 is John Wick 3. Parabellum.
Chapter 3 dash Parabellum.
What does the Parabellum mean?
It's a type of bullet, and it is also, I think it means like, this means war in Latin or something like that.
Okay.
I don't know, James.
Oh.
You watched it, and he says
'Cause
parabellum, and they have the little crawl underneath.
Antebellum means like before the war, after the war, Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
So bellum, okay, must mean war. Okay.
So yeah, it means like before the war or something. I'm not sure. Or, yeah, during.
Yep. My number 5 is Bill & Ted's Excellent Adventure. from 1989, same year as Parenthood. This is a 4-star movie for me. It's a 80s classic. It started the Bill and Ted surfer dude in films. Maybe not started. It took it to the extreme, I would say. Maybe
Sean Penn. I think
right.
started
Fast
that.
Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah.
I would say probably at least popularized it. I know there were like some B movies that had those types of characters, but that one really broke out for sure. Anyway, this one stars Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter. George Carlin, a bunch of other people you might recognize if you're into 80s movies. And I loved this as a kid growing up in Southern California. This was like the movie for me. I watched it a bunch of times, enough that I'm kind of sick of it, to be honest. Like, I watch it these days and it's like wallpaper to me at times. And that's why it's not higher on my top of all time list, and why it's not higher on this list.
Okay, Kyle.
That would be me. So we are now at the point where I'm just ranking franchise movies because my 3 favorite Keanu Reeves performances all come from franchises. So number 3 is the Bill and Ted franchise. I like all 3 of these movies to differing degrees. I think that Keanu Reeves does a great job.
Are you on your number 3 already?
Oh, number 4. Guys, we are. This is going great tonight.
Dwight Elijah 4.
This is going great. I was so excited.
I can't remember anything.
My number 4, not a franchise movie.
Is it on the page?
Yeah, I just forgot what number we were on because James was talking Bill and Ted, so I just jumped right to Bill.
Got
and
my
Ted.
dillies on a pepper tank.
My number 4 is the previous mentioned Scanner Darkly. It's got rotoscope. I love rotoscope. Move on.
Waking Life is a better movie. My number 4 is the original John Wick.
Nice. My number 4 is My Own Private Idaho from 1991. This one, I believe, was a listener suggestion at some point.
We watched this on the show.
Yeah, down the road. And I loved it. Directed by Gus Van Sant, starring Keanu Reeves and River Phoenix as 2 guys, kind of, from my memory, on a road trip-ish type thing. Like, they're trying to get from one city to the next, but they don't have much money. They kind of live on the streets-ish type thing. They're surviving because, I don't know, is it spoiler to kind of set up why?
I don't know.
If you have to ask, the answer
you don't
is
know
yes.
because you don't remember, or because...
No, I remember. If you have to ask, just say it is.
Okay. It's probably spoiler as far as why. Spoiler for a Gus Van Sant movie. Which are very well known for their spoilers.
You could spoil Jerry.
You could spoil Jerry. I
don't need to watch that again. Don't ruin it for me.
Anyway, this is considered like kind of a seminal movie in a couple of ways. One, I'm not going to mention because you kind of have to see the movie. You have to see the movie because that's part of the spoiler. What?
That was the worst.
That was not a joke. Okay.
No,
all right,
you were.
All right.
I was not joking.
Love to hear the couple ways.
I was not joking. I understand what you're saying, but that was not a joke.
All right, James.
I haven't seen the movie and I know what you're referencing.
How dare you guys? This is a cult classic. I'm not joking about it. I think people should see it if they haven't, and that's all I'm going to say on this on My Own Private Idaho.
This is my favorite episode we've done in a long time. I might go back and listen to this one.
Who's next?
I'm next with my previously mentioned number 3 of the Bill and Ted franchise. Ted's a great character. These are fun movies. Love them. To like them. To they're okay.
My number 3 is Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
My number 3 is Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
This is a worthy sequel. I think it expands the universe of the first one. We get very memorable characters, right? Like, we're introduced to Death, and he's like a super memorable character. And also a reference to the Seventh Seal, which is like, like an art film. So, hey, great.
I mean, hey, John Wick's got some Lawrence of Arabia thrown in there, so
exactly.
Keanu knows how to pick them.
Yeah, he's a true cinephile.
Yeah, I love this movie too. Maybe I think part of it is I just haven't seen it I never got sick of it as a kid because it came out and then I like didn't see it again for 10 years. And now I revisited it and I was like, "Oh, I think this might actually be better than the first." And I've watched it a couple times since then. Zach and I many years ago did a fan commentary, I would say, for Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey that if you are a Patreon, you can go listen to right now. And yeah, I think it's legitimately good. And it's like if smart people wrote a Bill and Ted's movie and like complicated it just enough to make it interesting.
Yeah.
Beyond kind of the hooks of the first movie. It's like instead of just making a part 2 where they went into history and met different historical figures, instead of that, they were like, let's take this to a totally different level, like a meta level where they're literally going to like purgatory and stuff like that. And for some reason, there's robots from the future, like stuff that has nothing to do with the reality of history.
Yeah.
They've
And they call them
this.
evil robot usses, which I think is so great.
Yeah.
And there's the weird aliens. There's just so much like crazy stuff in it that I still enjoy it. My number 3.
Great. Is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay.
You're number 2.
Thank you.
You're doing number 1, I think.
No, this is my number 2. So my number 2, and this is my second favorite Keanu Reeves franchise / role, and this would be Neo from The Matrix. The first Matrix is a top 100 movie. I love it. The second Matrix is fun. The third Matrix is long, and the fourth Matrix is weird. So I can't make this my number 1 because I would say this is an inconsistent franchise. And Neo as a character is kind of a blank slate. I think it's kind of the point of him is he can be anybody. And it's here he is. But Keanu Reeves is great with the stunt work and is a lot of fun in these movies.
Nice.
Yeah. That's awesome. My number 2 is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure because it's awesome and I love it.
Agreed. My number 2 is John Wick from 2014, which is the only John Wick movie that I say has a legitimately good story to it. The rest of them are just dragging things on, basically, like just trying to make things interesting when in reality, the simplicity of the original John Wick is what really lit the match for the whole series. And the rest is just like inventing new motivations for him to keep fighting. I mean, that's fine. I like part 3 through 4, but the first one, that's a tight action movie. My number 2.
My number 1 is John Wick, the character and the franchise. I think of Keanu Reeves. This is going to be what he's remembered for, even more so than The Matrix. And I think these movies are overall better than the Matrix franchise.
You think he'll be remembered more for John Wick than for Neo?
I think there are a younger moviegoers, younger than us, maybe our generation, will remember him as Neo and Speed and maybe even Point Break. But I would say like younger moviegoers, young adults may know him better as John Wick.
Guaranteed that's true.
Yeah.
That may be true. It's just like when his obituary is written, do you think John Wick comes before The Matrix?
Yes.
You think it would say star of the John Wicks and Matrix movies or star of the Matrix and John Wick movies?
I just think I maybe I'm wrong. I just assumed The Matrix will go down as his most famous role.
That's
when
tough.
You see Keanu Reeves, some people will be like, he's John Wick. When you see Keanu Reeves, you don't say he's the Matrix. You know what I mean? Like it's literally the title character. Like him and John Wick. Some people, they can tell the difference. I'm just saying, like
because the movie's not
the
called
fact that
Neo.
it's in the name alone.
Yeah.
Means that people will remember him for John Wick. Plus, it's going to go 5+ movies, whereas Matrix is a 24-year-old movie now, 23-year-old movie, whatever. And it finally got a 4th movie that bombed, and there probably won't be more. Or if there is, it's going to be garbage anyway. So, yeah, John Wick all the way.
Wow, you're both so confident about that.
Absolutely.
I'm a pawn Tony.
Love it. Love it.
All right.
Amazing.
Who's next? Me? We're on number
no,
one.
Kyle just went. So my number one is The Matrix.
All right. My number one is The Matrix. Zach and I, no, it wasn't exactly the same, but our bottom
Very
five,
close,
our
though.
bottom five was pretty close.
You guys were
very
close a couple times. Yeah.
Do you have anything to say about The Matrix, Zach?
No.
Me neither. It's great.
Well, bye, guys. Thanks.
He'll be remembered for it over John Wick.
You've always said that.
I have. I've always
The
said
Matrix
it. I'm sticking
is
to it.
Most famous or second famous role. Only time will tell.
No, I will say the reason why The Matrix lasts for me over John Wick is because I do think the story of John Wick as a franchise is less interesting than the story of The Matrix in general. And I also think that The Matrix broke new grounds on special effects. Like I legitimately love that 1999 was the year The Matrix came out as a movie that nobody anticipated. It came out and everybody was like, what is this movie with this thing that we've never seen before? That's pretty awesome and it's amazing. And in that same year, Star Wars came back and George Lucas was just like looking around saying, look at me, look at me. Look, I put a digital character in a movie and like 99% of it is green screen. Aren't I great? And people said to that movie. And they were like, we like The Matrix. We're going to remember 1999 for that. And I love that. The Matrix gave me that. Yep.
Cool.
The Matrix owns George Lucas. That makes James happy.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. All right.
Can I tell you another Keanu Reeves thing that I kind of like? It's like unimportant and tangential.
Absolutely.
Please.
Unlike some older Hollywood actors, I feel like he's dating an age-appropriate person.
He's pretty much kind of an unproblematic king in general, right? For the most part.
Yeah.
Like, I've never heard a story about Keanu Reeves yelling at somebody on set, like at a minimum.
Yeah. The only stories you hear are like he like secretly gave everyone in the crew like, $100 and a coupon.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the video of him carrying crew equipment up the staircase?
No.
Yeah, like I saw it floating around Twitter, and it was like, that staircase that they had that big fight scene on. They're moving equipment, and there's Keanu Reeves like in John Wick costume, lugging 3 backpacks up the stairs with him, and they were definitely not like his backpacks. They were just random, whatever.
I mean, maybe the only, and this is going to sound weird because I'm single too, but how do you go like your whole life as a Hollywood star and like never get married? I don't know.
He hasn't been married?
I don't think so.
But did he have
maybe,
a daughter
maybe,
that
and I
passed
just
away?
don't know. Ooh, is that true? That's awful.
Yeah, I thought he had like had some trauma in the 2000s. Yeah, he had a partner. Well, I don't know if they say partners. He had a partner from 1998 to 2001 when she passed away. He has a child,
stillborn daughter.
Oh, stillborn daughter. Okay, I mean, yeah.
I mean, that's still traumatic.
It's still
not
traumatic, right? Yeah,
yeah.
We're not gonna like, oh, that.
Right.
And then his current partner he's been with since 2018.
All right. Interesting. Yeah, he's also the type of guy that like gets photographed taking like public transportation. And he absolutely doesn't have to do that. He seems like he either is naturally chill about being a celebrity or he's just very good at looking chill about being a celebrity. If you saw Keanu Reeves on the street, would you approach him?
No.
I would.
Why?
I don't know. I just want to let the man be.
Right. I think him being chill and so like nonchalant about being a celebrity makes me want to leave him alone more than somebody who like, you can tell relishes being a celebrity.
Are you talking like would I cross the street to see him, or if like we were passing on the sidewalk? Would I say?
Would you be like, I gotta let him know that I exist somehow. I gotta say hey or give him a wink or like, you know what I mean? I gotta acknowledge that I'm seeing him type of thing.
Yeah.
You know how some people get weird like that? I definitely do. I have around certain
Yeah.
celebrities where I'm like my favorite wrestler. I think I've told you guys this story where I like basically ambushed him in a courtyard at SeaWorld where I used to work.
Glacier?
No. I mean, Glacier was a great wrestler for sure, but not my favorite wrestler. No, it was Mick Foley, aka Mankind, Dude Love, and Cactus Jack. And I made a fool of myself. Point is, I could have just let the man be and enjoy his day at SeaWorld with his family, but I had to make sure he knew that I saw him. Right? That was not for his benefit. That was my benefit, obviously. And I think that's most of the time when people approach celebrities, right? They're not doing it for the celebrity's benefit. They're doing it for their own.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I would only really want to talk to a celebrity if it somehow I felt I had something to offer in that moment, or if I felt like they had something I needed.
Sure.
I would not ask a celebrity for a picture if I saw them in public. Like
even if there was like a little line of people taking pictures with them.
Yeah,
like somebody's already interrupted their day.
I mean, I've never been presented with that situation, so I can't tell you what I would do if I saw a small line of people taking photos with Keanu Reeves.
Right.
But if I was just like saw him on the street, I would maybe say like, oh hey, like I recognize you kind of thing. But I wouldn't be like, oh hey, can we get a picture? I wouldn't want to bother him that way, or any celebrity.
100%. If they were already taking photos, I'm getting in that line.
In fact, James would ask someone else, hey, go ask him for a photo, and they would line up behind that person.
I've always wanted to like see a celebrity in the wild and then quick IMDb their like most obscure movie and then go up to them and say like, this movie changed my life. Like something that just no one ever mentions to them at all.
See
if
they remember being in it in the first place.
Yeah. I've seen, The Lake House 80 times and my wife and I got married with it playing in the background or something. You know what I mean?
You know what my favorite movie of all time is, Keanu? Little Buddha.
I know. Yeah.
He'd probably love that.
He would be so confused by that, I'm sure.
He's like, are you a big fan of Siddhartha? Like, I am.
All right, guys. That was fun. We enjoyed talking Keanu Reeves movies with you and John Wick.
Who do you like better, Keanu Reeves or Christopher Reeves?
Well, Keanu Reeves is alive, so Keanu Reeves.
Wow.
I've heard stories that Christopher Reeves had quite a large ego on him back in the day. So,
okay.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna make the joke that was running through my mind. We're gonna move on because we need to. Let's just say that. Thank you for listening to this episode 575 5th episode of the Cinereelists. We appreciate your listenership. Don't forget, there's a video version of this podcast on YouTube. Go check it out there. You could follow us on Patreon, patreon.com/Cinereelists. If you're a big Bill and Ted Bogus Journey fan and you haven't listened to that commentary, go become a Patreon. Go listen to it right now. It was fun to record.
It was.
I remember correctly. It's been a while.
And it's been a while.
Also, leave us an Apple Podcast review. 5 stars only. We appreciate that. Or send us a listener email to heyguys@cinereelists.com. REEL with an S on the very end. Send a comment, a question, a list suggestion, a movie suggestion, any of those kinds of things we appreciate via email, or you could follow us on social media on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter @Cinereelists, or you could follow me on my personal Twitter or Letterboxd account @YoJRB.
You can follow me on Twitter or Letterboxd @Shaban.
You can find me on Letterboxd @PeterSKB.
Next week, we're not 100% sure what we're going to watch, but we're 99.9% sure Kyle will not be there.
What?
It's been a good run.
This is not news to you, Kyle. How dare you?
James, should I hit record now? Have we started the podcast?
We have.
Oh,
but
okay.
there's also a 90, well, maybe a 9% chance we're going to watch Tetris on Apple Plus. So maybe watch that, but there's no guarantee that's what we're going to talk about. But
And by we,
that's
you
the only
mean
thing we
you
know
and
about.
Zach, right?
Yeah, Zach
not
and I.
the royal we here. Okay.
Right, because Kyle won't be here again. And so that's your warning for next week. We'll see you there. Until then, keep it cinereal.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.